Hey guys, in this video we're going to take a look at the last few release notes for the Legends Ultimate Arcade cabinet. We are currently running 4.9 and there's been quite a few different updates that I want to talk about. This is Steve from Restalgia and let's get started. Alright guys, so there's been a few firmware releases since my last video, and we've had a couple big features come out along the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the most up-to-date release notes for the release that came out yesterday, which was March 4th, 2020. And then after I'm done that, I'm going to go back and we're going to talk about that new feature that came out last week called OTG support. And I'm going to go a little bit into detail with that one just because it can be a little bit more complicated to get it up and running. There's still quite a few bugs with it. It's not 100% perfect, and you're not able to use it for everything that you may want to out of the box yet. So it's best if we take this one step at a time, and as we get further development on it, I'll be sure to cover it in future videos as well. So jumping back to the most recent release, we've got version 4.9, again, that came out yesterday morning, and the big thing that's come out with this thing is that they have now allowed us to change whatever our technical home page is going to be. So if we want it to start up on the main screen, we can do that. We can also set it that when we turn on our cabinet, we can set it to turn on to the BYOG section automatically. We can have it set up directly into our settings tab, or we can go directly into the arcade net. So that kind of gives us a little bit of flexibility. If you're somebody who constantly and only is using the BYOG section, you can set it up that way it loads to that page right on your startup. The next big feature that they've included is Bluetooth audio device support. And essentially what this allows you to do is to connect the control deck to an external audio source. If that's Bluetooth headphones or Bluetooth speaker, you can actually set it up so that way the audio output will go to those devices rather than the built-in speakers in the cabinet. So it just gives you a little bit more flexibility. If you want to set up, for example, Bluetooth headphones so you can just play with headphones in so that way nobody else around you can hear the audio, that's a nice little feature as well. Another feature that they've included here is something called Data Manager, and this is going to be located in your settings section, and it essentially gives us a little bit more control over stored user data. So in the event that we need to back up or import or export or clean up any of our own personal data that's on the cabinet, and that includes things like game saves and stuff like that, we can do that right from this little app that they've got built into it. My guess would be that if you're having a defective unit and you need to transfer your data from one board to another board, this would help you do that. Additionally, there's a few other small things that they've improved. For example, they've updated the UI to allow page up-down using the joystick at the edge of the screen. So that's a nice little feature. If you're not sure what I mean by that, if you were on one of the game pages where you have 5 or 6 different pages worth of games visible, instead of pressing the C button or the B button to change pages, you can just kind of toggle through using the joystick going to the right, and it'll just go to the next page. And once you get to the end of the list, if you go over to the right again, it'll just jump over to the next page. So that's something I actually really like. I hated having to use the B and C buttons in order to move pages, so I appreciate this. This is a small little feature they've included, but it is very useful. As always, they still know that there are ongoing issues and they are addressing those things, so they do let us know that there is, hey, a couple features here and there that are not working 100%. Those are obviously things that they are working on, and they will release them in subsequent firmware releases. And one last feature that I do want to make note of, about 2 or 3 firmware releases ago, we had a new clock feature that was released, and essentially the clock feature just kind of sits in the top right corner of your home screen, and it just tells you what time it is. People were reporting that when they would do power cycles, or if they shut off their cabinet for an extended period of time and connected back in, the time would be all weird, and they are acknowledging that this is related to hardware limitations. But if you set it up properly with your internet connection to the proper time zone and all those sort of things, even if upon boot you get the wrong time, as soon as it connects to the internet, it will sync the proper time and that will be corrected. So just keep that in mind, that if you are having that issue, make sure you're connected into the internet and that you've got all of your settings in the clock menu set up properly. But that's pretty much all the big stuff for the latest release from yesterday. Now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the OTG feature. So before I talk about what it's capable of doing, what it's not capable of doing, I'm going to show you guys how to get your device set up in OTG mode. What you need to do is you need to navigate over to your settings tab, and then we need to select the item that says Bluetooth device. So this would be similar if you wanted to set your device up as a Bluetooth device or a Bluetooth host. They've added an additional feature in here called Setup OTG. So you're gonna go ahead and navigate to the section where it says OTG, then you're going to hit apply. We're gonna get a short 3-second countdown, and it's going to then set our device in OTG mode. Once we are in OTG mode, what we need to do is we need to grab a USB-A to USB-A male-to-male cable, and I've got one on screen here. They're very cheap. I picked this one up for $5 Canadian locally, just at one of our electronic stores. You guys can grab them on Amazon, and I'll leave a link in the description down below so that way you guys know that you're getting the right cable. But be sure that if you are looking for one yourself, you're getting a USB-A to USB-A male-to-male. That's really important. It doesn't matter if it's a 3.0 or a 2.0. Next, what we need to do is we are going to plug our USB port into the far left USB slot on our control deck. The one on the right does not work. It has to be the far left. And once that's in there, you can then pop the other end into any available USB port on your computer. Next, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to switch over to my computer before I start explaining all of the different features and what this is capable and not capable of doing at this point. Alright guys, so now we are on my computer. I do want to mention a couple of things. OTG mode right now is not 100%. In fact, it should recognize that there is a controller connected, and when you move the trackball, you should be able to move the cursor around the screen. We do have a problem though. We have no way to right click or left click with the control deck, so it is still recommended to have a mouse connected in. I know that there are some users in the community who have created a patch that allows you to use the A and B buttons to left and right click. I have not tested it or installed it, but others have and they say it works, so you may have to look for that in some of the Facebook communities, and I'll leave a link in the description down below to a big one as well if you're not a part of it. The next thing that I'm going to talk about right now is the fact that this OTG mode right now is only really working well with Steam. And even that, a lot of people are having problems, which is why I'm going to show you guys the proper way to get this set up and mapped properly with Steam. I have not had any luck getting this set up with individually installed games on my PC that are not Steam games, and I haven't had any luck getting this set up with CoinOps. Now, what they're going to need to do is they're going to need to find a way to get this device to register within Windows as an Xbox 360 controller. If they can do that, we're going to have absolutely no problem. Everything should connect automatically because more or less everything that runs on Windows is compatible with an Xbox 360 or Xbox One controller. But what we're going to need to do to get this running with Steam is first we're going to go ahead and load Steam up. And then once Steam is loaded, we need to go into our settings section. And there's going to be 3 sections that we need to knock off. There's something called Guide Button Focuses Steam, Xbox Configuration Support, and Generic Gamepad Configuration Support. We need to make sure all 3 of those are connected. Then you're going to notice there are 2 controllers detected below. In my case, it says Xbox One controller. In your case, it'll probably say something like HID device or something along those lines. Mine says something different because I've already pre-registered the controllers and they're set up as quote-unquote Xbox One controllers. Part of the problem that people are having here is that when they try to map their buttons here, you can't actually save the configuration. So what we're actually going to need to do is back on out of this controller settings section and go back to our main Steam homepage. From there, we need to hit the view button and we need to select big picture mode. And what this is going to do is it's just going to change the UI and it's going to give us a separate Steam UI to work within. So once that's all loaded up, then we're going to go ahead and select the settings cog, which is in the top right hand corner. And from here, we need to go into our controller settings again. The screen should look familiar. It should be the exact same screen that we had looked at when we were trying to configure our controller on the main Steam UI, but it's going to function a little bit better here. We need to make sure that those 3 feature controller settings are checked, and then we're going to go ahead and select our bottom detected controller device. And from here, it's going to ask you to start mapping. Once you are done mapping, you're going to go all the way down to the bottom of the screen and there is a button called Save. Once you hit save, it's going to then ask you if you want to share the controller definition. In this case, I just said no, but if this is something that you want to upload online, you can absolutely do that. Once you either hit yes or no, it's going to reset the devices and reload. So they'll disappear and they will reappear again. And what you're actually going to notice is that your secondary controller will be automatically mirrored and mapped. So you don't actually have to map the second controller, everything's going to be done for you. If you want to verify that it is working that way, you can go ahead and hit the define layout button and just verify everything looks right, and then you can hit cancel if you're happy. But that's pretty much it. That's how you're going to get this up and running with Steam. Now, I'm going to go ahead and jump into a game just to test it out. And in this case, we're going to go ahead and launch Pinball FX3. Now, I do want to mention that, like I said earlier, I have not been able to get this to work with any standalone games that I've got on Windows or any games that I've downloaded through the Microsoft Store or anything like that. Currently, it's only running with Steam, and I know that the team at AtGames is working on a solution for that. So when and if that does come out, I'll be sure to make another tutorial video showing you guys if there are any major steps that need to happen. Obviously, like I said, the easiest way to make this work is simply setting it up so that way the device is recognized as an Xbox 360 controller or an Xbox One controller, because everything will work pretty much out of the gate with that. But that's pretty much all I've got for you guys in this video. If you guys have any issues with this, please leave a comment in the comment section below. Additionally, as I said, I'm leaving some resources in the description which have a ton of really active user members and access to the team at AtGames. So if you guys have any questions, you can join the Facebook page and you can leave a post and people will get back to you. And it's really helpful because there are a ton of people who are willing to help you get set up the way you need to get set up. But that's pretty much all I've got for you guys in this video. Please consider subscribing to the channel and give the video a thumbs up. Thank you so very much for watching, and I will talk to you guys again real soon.